best thoughts and wishes to all the victims of Hurricane Harvey.
Being from Louisiana, we know how hard Hurricane Katrina hit us, and we want to just let you know that we're thinking about you. We're going to play for you Saturday night.
I was a Hurricane Katrina evacuee, and I kind of went through a similar experience.
Hey everybody, just want to wish everyone in the Houston and South Texas area best of luck, and know that our prayers and our thoughts are with you during this tough time, and hopefully we can get this recovery going on. You got our support.
Welcome to the Advocare Texas Kickoff, presented on ESPN by Geico. It's number 12 LSU taking on BYU, the Tigers and the Cougars, to kick off the season. It is the Advocare Texas Kickoff, but we are here in New Orleans at the Superdome. I'm Bob Wischusen alongside Brock Ewart. Allison Williams will join us in just a moment from down on the field. Why are we in New Orleans? Well, of course, everyone knows the devastation that has hit Houston this past week from Hurricane Harvey. All of our thoughts, all of our prayers continue to go to the victims in South Texas. And it's amazing how this community, obviously ravaged not that many years ago by Katrina, has wrapped their arms around this football game, around these teams, helping in any way they can. And Brock, both of these teams, talk about champagne problems. This is a football game. We had no problem relocating, obviously, here to the Superdome, and the team seemed to handle it well. Do you expect it to affect tonight's game at all?
I really don't. In fact, I think it's an opportunity for both of them to put on a show. Both of them love to hit. Both of them really enjoy running and hitting. BYU got to do it a week ago. They had a warm-up game against Portland State. LSU got so many young people. I don't think they know much of anything what's going on other than some really bright lights and an incredible opportunity to go out and play. I expect this to be the most physical game of the weekend. I think you're going to hear it. I think the players will feed off the emotion in this dome. And I don't know about you, Bob, but I'm ready to watch and play a little football.
It'll be an emotional night, obviously, on the football field, but the emotions have been running all week, obviously, Allison, for some of these players as well affected by what happened in Houston.
Both BYU and LSU made it very clear their number one concern this week wasn't where they would play this game. It was the plight of everyone affected by Hurricane Harvey, especially the families of players from Houston. And that includes LSU offensive lineman Toby Weathersby. He told me this week was chaotic. At one point, receiving reports that his grandparents' house was flooded. He gassed up his truck and was ready to head west on I-10 to go be with his family, but he stopped when he thought of his football family, his coaches, his teammates, the commitment he made to them. He said, as difficult as it was to focus on football, I knew I had to because it's what my family would want me to do. I just kept praying and kept pushing forward.
The stories, we have watched them chronicled all week, and Toby Weathersby's family among them. Amazing. The resilience of the people already on display in Houston. We just can't tell you how much all of our thoughts and prayers are with everyone in South Texas. And also, we are going to try to do our part throughout the game tonight to try and raise some more money via the Red Cross to help the victims of Hurricane Harvey. And our thanks again to everyone here at the Superdome in New Orleans, and with both of these football programs, for making this such a seamless transition, taking a game and moving it from NRG Stadium to the Superdome tonight.
I don't think there's any doubt that that prayer you saw Toby Weathersby on his bended knee right there before the game was for family and friends and loved ones, and having the opportunity to go out here and perform and go out and play and cut it loose.
BYU won the toss, and the Cougs deferred their option to the second half. So it will be LSU to begin with the football. A returnable kick for Darrell Williams inside the 10. And he gets all the way out to the 30-yard line before he is brought down. So a new look LSU offense. Why? Well, Matt Canada in his first year as the offensive coordinator. We do have a flag down on the play as we take a look at our Northwestern Mutual planning for success. And Matt Canada's signature on offense, there's a lot going on with his system.
Unnecessary roughness, number 51, receiving team. 15-yard penalty, first down.
So that penalty goes against the Tigers. So field position now working against Matt Canada.
It is, but I don't think it will change the philosophy. He loves pre-snap movement. He loves the distraction and trying to distract the eyes of that defense. And you're going to see lots of movements, lots of motions, lots of shifts. You're also going to see a lot of, I think, personnel groups. He's got young people. LSU is young everywhere on this football team. That may complicate a little bit of it, but he's got a senior quarterback, Danny Etling, that grasps this system, that knows the advantages of being creative. And I think, like a lot of the LSU fans, I'm excited to see it in action.
Talk about pre-snap movement. And around to Geis. The first carry of the season for Darius Geis. Stronger than you think. He grinds out about 6, maybe 7 yards on first down. Darius Geis faster to 1,000 yards than any player in LSU history, and last year led the SEC in rushing yards in spite of the fact that he began the season as the backup.
25 plus touches in any way, just like that, a jet sweep, a screen, a sweep. No longer just lining up and telling the defense what you're going to do.
Geis again has a lane. He's got a first down. Zane Anderson tripped him up for BYU.
And a good mix of tempo. I could have added that to the planning for success as well.
Etling slings one outside to John David Moore, the former walk-on, who wears, or check that. Yeah, the former walk-on John David Moore, who is an inspirational story in and of himself. Fullback for Leonard Fournette a couple of seasons ago suffers a season-ending knee injury against Alabama and is honored to wear the legendary number 18 for LSU at the suggestion of Christian Lacouture. For the first time, LSU's got 2 18s, 2 players that very much deserve it. Geis hammers ahead for a first down.
And no surprise, 3 of the first 4 touches of this game go to the best player. He's the best player on either side in this game. 250-plus yard games to end last season. Very few in the SEC have done it. In fact, Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, it's an esteemed list that Darius joined at the end of last season. And he's dynamic in every way, inside, outside. And I think the perfect fit offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, with his skill set.
Geis again stumbles. The turf monster got him. Gain of a yard. Well, Darius Geis last season in the 5 games that Leonard Fournette missed averaged 180 yards on the ground. So as he closed last season, the final 4 games of last year, over 750 yards rushing. He was the top rusher in America the last 4 games of last season. Now it's Darrell Williams. Flag down. No gain on second down. I have to check the penalty marker. Matt Hadley got there first for BYU.
Holding, number 66, offense, 10-yard penalty, second down.
And that is right here out on the edge. Weathersby, we talked about in the open. And that's a 6'9" defensive end in Corbin Kaufusi. You just don't see many of them. He uses his arm, the basketball player. Kaufusi is now full-time football player, and for Weathersby, he will never line up against a guy quite like that on the other side who tries to use those hands and arms to leverage him first. Kaufusi did there. All Weathersby could do, unfortunately, was hold on, if you're a Tiger fan, and set them behind the chains. Yeah, 6'9", and that is a legit 6'9". 6'10" in basketball shoes. I've never seen that as a defensive end, and wait till you see him rush the passer and get his arms up in the air.
Play action for Etling on second and long. Another flag is thrown. He gets one to the sideline to Drake Davis, but this penalty marker is back at the line of scrimmage. If the play stands, it'll be 3rd down and 7.
Illegal shift, offense, 5-yard penalty, second down.
You're going to see this in opening games. You saw it watching college football this weekend. You may see a little bit more of it with Matt Canada, but it cannot slow him down. Ed Orgeron hired him to do a job. They're paying him 7 figures because he's really good at it. And I don't think a couple penalties are going to get in the way of having that movement, of really building the foundation of your offense, of being one that pre-snap affects the defense and post-snap helps you execute.
2nd down and 23. So this will test the play calling variety that Matt Canada has at his disposal. And now it looks like they have to reset the play clock, as LSU was a little late coming out of the huddle.
And if you're BYU, it is limiting the big play tonight. This building is one-sided. It's all purple and gold, and defensively do their best to keep everything in front of them.
Cougars show blitz, they rush 5. Etling underneath, that's bobbled and almost intercepted on the carom. Fred Warner had a chance at it after Foster Morrow couldn't haul it in. So now it's 3rd down and a mile.
And Warner is a good one. He's one of the rare breeds you see in college football, a linebacker that plays every down. He plays their nickel linebacker because he can really run.
If LSU looks a little rusty, is there a chance we won't see that from BYU? This is their 2nd game. They got their opening game out of the way last week, beating Portland State in an ugly, kind of at times mistake-filled sleepwalking affair for BYU, but they did play a game.
And beyond that, Bob, they were nothing to play for as far as to win. I mean, everything to lose a week ago, everything to gain tonight.
Etling to Chark, and that buys some real estate for the punt group.
Shouldn't say nothing to play for. You establish yourself game 1, a new team, a new regime on both sides here. But you play Portland State and you watch that tape, and Portland State was the aggressor. They had nothing to lose. LSU tonight, 14-point favorites in this building with this home crowd behind them. BYU should be able to cut it loose.
Josh Groudon made the all-freshman SEC team last year. At punter, line drive, Tanner Jacobson lets it bounce. And it takes an LSU roll inside the 20-yard line. LSU, 3 penalties on their opening possession hurts them, so BYU's got the football when we come back.
The 2017 Advocare Texas Kickoff is presented on ESPN by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And in part by Goodyear, tires chosen by experts for superior performance. Goodyear, more driven.
Well, thousands have been affected by Hurricane Harvey. They urgently need your support. Please help the American Red Cross provide meals and shelter to these families. Donate today by going to redcross.org/ESPN. Right across the street, they had a Red Cross fundraiser tonight. $5 donation got you a tailgate plate of food. So everyone's trying to do their part to help the victims of Hurricane Harvey. We will do what we can as well. First time to the offense for BYU inside their own 20-yard line, and they'll start with Squally Canada across the 20 for a gain of a couple. Tanner Mangum, the BYU freshman star in 2015, over 3,300 yards passing and 23 touchdowns that year. Last season loses the job to Taysom Hill, but goes nowhere. Stays on the headset, listens to Ty Detmer, learns for a season, and now comes back Brock this year as the starter.
It was a little in between, admittedly so, last week against Portland State. Not pulling the trigger with anticipation. I believe like he will tonight and like he has to against the Tigers.
Kavika Fanua lost a yard or 2. The speed of that front 7 already on display for that LSU defense. That's a true freshman, Tyler Taylor, who chose LSU over Auburn and Georgia. Came up to make the stop.
And that's a true freshman playing because Donnie Alexander is one of a number of Tigers, especially defensively, that is out for this game for team rules. They were not specific, but Tolliver is out, the starting corner. Alexander's out. Key is out. There is going to be a lot of new young faces playing for LSU defensively.
And Frank Herron, their main swing guy on the defensive line, also out. 3rd down and long. Mangum on a slant. That's a first down catch. Getting free is Micah Simon. Out to the 33-yard line. That's a gain of 13.
And that is a perfect picture of where I think Dave Aranda looked at the film last week of Tanner Mangum and said, that's not really the kid I saw a couple years ago. Mangum was one that would just get the ball out of his hands, and he was so aggressive. And a week ago against Portland State, he wasn't. A lot of press man coverage. That was some soft coverage on third down. I would expect LSU to come up also and challenge those wide receivers because Portland State had a whole bunch of success. But that's a confidence builder for Tanner to begin the game.
Play action. Here comes a blitz. Long throw outside. Modest gain. Read nicely by another true freshman, Grant Delpit, the number 4 safety according to our ESPN rankings. He closed fast on Talon Shumway. Maybe a gain of a half yard.
And when you have the number 6 recruiting class in America, seemingly every year, you can play true freshmen across the board at all 3 levels tonight. Pass rusher, linebacker, Delpit the safety, and you'll see the nickel corner Vincent as well, number 15 eventually.
Flag down at the snap. Fanua up the middle.
Illegal formation, more than 4 players in the backfield. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Kalani Sitake, the alum of BYU, in his second year on the sidelines for the Cougars. 10-4 overall. The first Tongan head coach in NCAA history, as he was born in Tonga, raised in Hawaii. And he is so proud of his roots, not only as a Tongan, but also as a BYU football player. Boy, he talked at length last night. But I was so proud to be back at his alma mater. It'll be 3rd down and 6 as Aleva Hifo catches an underneath route.
And look at the number of players. Arden Key is out with injury, but look at the number of suspensions tonight. And this was held to the very last hour. The coaches had a sense that this was going to happen, that there was going to be some tough love. And when you're establishing a program, even though Ed Orgeron has been here, even though it is his dream job on that sidelines as well, discipline is going to be the foundation of his regime.
And there's Arden Key, also out after shoulder surgery back in May, not ready to play yet. Blitz coming. Nowhere to go. Dirting the ball is Tanner Mangum. He wanted a screen. The ball comes out. Looked like he threw it forward. And now they are going to very late say incomplete pass, and BYU will punt it away. Corey Thompson was all over Tanner Mangum.
Yeah, there's no doubt that's a smart play, a heady play. A guy that's got a lot of experience. And I asked Ty Detmer yesterday, and there's a good look at Ty talking to Tanner. He has to like what he saw, decisive. Oh, now another penalty flag down.
Grounding, number 12 offense. The ball be placed at the spot of the foul. Lost it down. 4th down.
The flag came out very late. They get Mangum for intentional grounding, although it looked like he was trying to slip the ball through traffic to set up a screen.
You see KJ Hall, 24, the running back there. And Bob, they will give you the benefit of the doubt. That hits the defender. I don't know if they could see that it hit the defender, and that is why it did not end up in the area. They usually give you some grace there of trying to get that ball to the running back. Yeah, I think here's a little conversation now of umpire, referee. That ball was thrown in the direction of the running back, but it hit the defender. In my opinion, that should not be intentional grounding. This is what you want Cruz to do. It's their first game as well. You want them to communicate, at times over communicate. It looks like they're standing by the call.
4th down.
So it will be intentional grounding, and that will cost BYU about 11 yards of field position for their punt group. DJ Chark is deep to receive the kick from Linehan. Johnny Linehan won 3 rugby national titles at BYU, so the rugby style punt effective inside the LSU 35-yard line, a 43-yard kick. Back to the offense for LSU in a moment.
2017 Advocare Texas Kickoff, presented on ESPN by Geico, is brought to you by Advocare. We build champions. Shop and learn more at advocare.com. And Jaguar, the art of performance.
About the only giveaway that the Advocare Texas Kickoff wasn't always supposed to be played here at the Superdome. You can see they didn't quite get the program changed. NRG Stadium, they just shipped all the programs from Houston to New Orleans for tonight's game, but it came out very early in the week that the folks here in New Orleans with the Mercedes-Benz Superdome offered up their services and said, we can do this for you if you want to move the game here. And it became the most logical destination with the Hurricane Harvey devastation in Houston. And what an amazing job everyone involved did in getting the game moved over here seamlessly to New Orleans. This Geis goes up the middle for 2. Well, Danny Etling making his 24th career start. 23 career starts between Purdue and LSU. Spent a couple of years with the Boilermakers back in 2013 and 14. Took over last year as the starter in week 3 and went 7-3 the rest of the way and really came on down the stretch for LSU.
And did all that on a foot he could not feel because of nerve damage in his back that he waited to have surgery post-spring. He is a mentally and physically tough kid.
Geis brought down right at the line. It'll be 3rd down and long after we check in for the first time with Adnan Virk. Hello, Adnan. Well, Adnan, that is 2 of many eyebrow-raising scores that have come across the board. Last night, some teams got off to a very slow start as well. It happened earlier today. 3rd down and 8 here for LSU. Etling, long throw to the sideline. It is on time. A 1st down catch for Derek Dillon.
And that's exactly what it was. Just zone coverage. BYU is going to do everything to keep it in front of him. Fred Warner is that nickel linebacker, and you see the safety, Tanneman. He sees it, he reads it, he's just a half step late. And Hanneman had to miss the first half of last week's opener because of a targeting call from the bowl game. But those are just the plays of anticipation right there. And you just see it, and it's just a half second. And for Dillon, nice to get a catch under his belt, a critical 3rd down conversion.
Geis bounces it outside. Spin move at the 50. A gain of 6 for Darius Geis. We talked about the fact that Danny Etling took over early during last season. Well, the head coach took over early last season as well. Ed Orgeron, this is his first full year as the head coach now at LSU as he watches his offense go hurry up, and Geis has a lane. Running through tacklers to the 35.
I think you're seeing here that first series 5 didn't come off the field. And this isn't going to be monitoring touches or carries. This is going to be Geis's last year at LSU. A junior now. He has got all the ability to be ready for the NFL. And in this system, it's an ideal fit. As you see KJ Malone.
Full start. Number 63. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
That's not going to please the once interim head coach that last year after LSU beat Texas A&M. Thanksgiving weekend, 54-39. He was named the permanent head coach. And this is his 2nd chance to take over a program. Of course, it was a disaster back at Ole Miss. 2005 to 2007, a 10-27 record, the worst win percentage in Ole Miss history. That's the part of it that has to worry an LSU fan. Whistle stop play here before the snap.
Offense. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
And the LSU sideline wanted a reset, as did Ed Orgeron of the play clock. Didn't get it. What do you think he learned, though, from the Ole Miss experience and also a couple of interim experiences to now becoming the head coach again here at LSU?
Surround yourself with greatness. And they've got two of the best coordinators in all of college football. They're paying for it. But I think he knows what he is and what he isn't at this stage of his career.
Geis. He runs hard. At only 5'11" and a shade under 220. He is strong. And it is now 2nd down and long as he picks up 8. He'll take it again and set up 3rd down and 8. Career rushing leaderboard, and Geis just moved up a spot past Billy Cannon into 16th. He'll be well inside the top 10 if he stays healthy before this season's over.
It's been zone, zone, zone for the BYU Cougars here defensively to begin this game. They like to cut it loose. They like to show different looks. I think they're going to continue to be conservative and limit the big play.
Etling, long throw, same route, same player. Derek Dillon, same result. A 3rd down conversion and a 1st down just outside the red zone.
That was the exact same play as the last 3rd down. The exact same play. Good coordinators come back to what works.
Geis stood up just shy of the 20-yard line by Matt Hadley.
I think I've told you the story before. Playing with Peyton Manning in Indianapolis, Tom Moore, the coordinator, the same play. It was a check with me, albeit, but it was the same play for 15 straight plays. I think sometimes you get too cute and you think, well, they didn't read it quite right. The safety didn't pull the trigger. He wasn't on it. Linebacker next time is going to get underneath it. No, make sure they do. Because if that concept was effective the first 3rd down and the same exact zone coverage there, they take advantage again.
Power toss to Geis. It'll be 3rd down and short.
He just falls forward. That's what the elite ones do. A season ago at Pitt, it was James Conner for Matt Canada. We saw it. A lot of these same formations.
Now a full house backfield. 11th play of the drive. Geis has a 1st down. 1st and goal at the 10. A young man that grew up on the streets of Baton Rouge. His older brother in and out of prison. He was 5 years old when his father was shot and killed. So he has earned everything that he's gotten to get to LSU. Stay on the straight and narrow, and he takes us to the end of the 1st quarter with a 1st and goal for the Bayou Bengals.
I thought I was saying something with 25 touches. He's on pace for nearly 50.
When we come back, it'll be the 12th play of the drive. 9 of the previous 11 touches have gone to the guy that's now on the sideline. End of the 1st quarter. He needs a break. Welcome back to the Advocare Texas Kickoff, presented on ESPN by Geico. Just about set for the start of the 2nd quarter. No score. It's 1st and goal, though, for LSU. And ESPN's 5-star Labor Day weekend of college football games continues tomorrow. Sunday night, prime time, ABC. Number 22 takes on number 21, West Virginia and Virginia Tech. The Black Diamond Trophy game at FedEx Field. Our coverage will kick off at 7:30 Eastern, also streaming live, as all of our games are on the ESPN app. And Darius Geis still hasn't missed an offensive snap. He got the break that he needed during the quarter break timeout. Back on the field as the lone setback. Jet sweep instead. Turning the corner, lowering his shoulders and getting inside the 5-yard line. Darrell Williams, 2nd down and goal.
He's a nice 1-2 punch. We saw him earlier in that power set, actually an excellent lead block. They asked him to cut some weight. He came back in tremendous shape. And that's dangerous when you can have 2 halfbacks on the field. As much as Matt Canada likes that, he loves that play. He loves shovel pass. He loves innovative ways to get those backs the ball.
Geis straight ahead at the goal line. That's an LSU touchdown. We talk about the versatility of Matt Canada's offense. All different types of personnel groups and tempo and pre-snap shifting. Once they get inside the 10-yard line, based on how they were lined up, not much mystery about what was coming.
Nope.
That was Geis right down the alley.
I think every high school team in the state of Louisiana has got 30 dive. And that's a 350-pounder he hit and bounced into the end zone. Told you it'd be his show, and he's starting off well.
ESPN coverage is streaming live on the ESPN app. Download now and take ESPN everywhere.
First touchdown of the season for Darius Geis, and the guys up front made it look very easy.
Sure did. BYU is counting on these 2 D tackles. Tonga Maunga. That is 700 pounds of beef to hold the point, and they don't. That is a wonderful double team. That is a lane that I think we could both run through, Bob. I don't know if we would get up to run another play, but I think we'd have a shot.
That's Brock Ewart. I'm Bob Wischusen. Allison Williams down on the field, and it's a 7-0 LSU lead. We played 15 and a half minutes. BYU about to get the ball for only the second time. Trinnaman on the run back. And he's out across the 25. A 13-play touchdown drive for LSU. Can BYU answer? We'll find out in a moment. Serve and volley, Adnan. That's what I try to do with Brock Ewart as best I can. I set it up for Brock. He spikes it away, takes the glory. That's the way it's supposed to be. Early second quarter. Trey Dye heads in motion out of the BYU backfield. Back to throw is Tanner Mangum. He wants the bomb down the sideline. Man coverage, underthrown, intercepted. Greedy Williams getting the start in place of Kevin Tolliver comes up with his first career pick. The redshirt freshman looking like so many great DBs that LSU have before him. It's a turnover, and LSU's got it back.
And he's playing for the suspended Kevin Tolliver here, and this is a no-no. It's press man coverage. I like the idea, but this is really a no-no on 2 fronts. Number 1 on the quarterback, on Tanner for underthrowing it, but number 2, Bo Tanner, and he's their shot guy. He runs their deep stuff. That's got to be your ball or nobody's ball. And when you see that underthrown, you've got to fight, scratch, claw. You've got to tear at that defender. You become the defender. You just can't float away from the football. Give up a gimme like that. That's a minus on both grade sheets. And disastrous to put guys back on the field.
DJ Chark on the jet sweep. Picks up 3. There have only been 17 defensive backs at LSU that have been drafted since 2007. That is some group of pictures in that DB room at the LSU training facility.
Dave Aranda's story, a good one. He says, we'll have 100 DBs at summer camp. 20 of them will run sub 4.5. I mean, Wisconsin, Utah, the other places he's been, if you get a couple kids that run sub 4.5, upwards of 20 every single camp, they can really run, and they play that fast. Even as a redshirt freshman there getting his first opportunity, they play, that speed comes to life on the field. Doesn't disappear.
Geis. First down. 8 more for Darius Geis.
Eventually these safeties are going to have to come up, Bob. But right now it is a little game of patience. If you're BYU, you'll give up 3, 4, 5 yards. You just do not want to give up the play action and the big shots down the field. But these safeties have got to come up in that run support eventually. That's Hanneman there, Anderson. They're active safeties, and you can see them right now. They're good 10, 11 yards back.
There's the play action fake. Etling looking downfield where the safeties used to be. Chark's got it inside the 5. LSU will waste no time. 1st and goal at the 2. They want to go, and they want to go quickly.
Go right back to what worked last time.
Geis didn't get there. 2nd and goal at the 1.
And Matt Canada could see the same thing that I was seeing up here. There was depth, but eventually those safeties can't help it. That you just can't. Ed Orgeron knows it. You run, you run, you run. Even though your depth is there, your feet are flat, and you give up that post right over your head.
Darrell Williams in motion. Geis, touchdown number 2. (14-0) Tigers. A microcosm of how LSU plays. DBU gets the takeaway. Darius Geis sets up the deep ball. Play action over the top to DJ Chark. And Geis finishes it from inside the 5.
Watch me do this. Since 2012 I've been the coolest. If you do not get it, you're foolish.
The 2017 AdvoCare Texas Kickoff, presented on ESPN by Geico, is brought to you by Gildan. For t-shirts and underwear, every thread counts. And Nissan, premier partner of the Heisman Trophy.
Looking at the handiwork of LSU strong safety John Battle. Takes photos when he's not playing football. He wanted his bowl gift last year to be a camera, and he puts it to good use. Actually created an Instagram page for his photos, IB Productions. He's got some talent.
Well, he's got the eye. He's also the voice of that defense. Dave Aranda very clear about that. He's the one that gathered everybody in the offseason. He's the one over the summer that really was the ringleader for workouts. He's the leader on the back end.
Jonah Trineman from the 2. Pretty good return out to the 28. Let's check in with that, Ned. I think Matt Rule has walked into a tough position, taken over that Baylor program, and his debut, were they to lose to Liberty.
Depleted roster, new system.
Nice jump cut, Squally Canada. Needed to make a good cut just to pick up 2 yards as we head down to Allison.
You see freshman Calebon Chason in there on that tackle, and he is starting in that key buck position for this LSU defense. A lot to learn, as you can imagine. So when he's been on the sidelines, he has been a sponge. Everybody has had his ear. The GAs, his position coach Dennis Johnson, his defensive coordinator Dave Aranda, and the players that aren't out there, including Arden Key, who came over, told him a couple tips on his reads. Then he said, hey, you got your first hit in, buddy. You're ready.
Well, the fact he's even playing college football is pretty amazing. 2nd down and a long 7, close to 8 for BYU. Mangum back to throw over the middle. He's got a hook up. That is a 1st down. Matt Bushman, the freshman tight end, moves the chains.
And that's his go-to guy. Asked Tanner, as I do a lot of these quarterbacks, what do you like when push comes to shove? What's your favorite route? And he did not hesitate. He said, whatever 89's doing. Bushman and I have got a connection, even though he is a freshman, whether it's seam routes or stick routes. And down 14, needing this drive, needing possession. That is just the 9th play that BYU has ran. And coming into this series, 18-4 time of possession. They have got to hold on to the football.
And they need to give their defense, at the very least, a breather. Squally Canada for about 2. In the middle of that pile was Chason once again. Now, Calebon Chason, he had never played high school football when he went to an LSU camp before his junior year. Eric Monroe, a backup safety, that was his buddy. He was going to the camp, but Chason said, I'll come, I'll support you. Well, he jumped into the drills, LSU offered him a scholarship on the spot. I said, if you want to come to play college football for us, he said, I don't even play high school football. Well, go back and play some high school football. And he did. In his last 2 years of high school, became a top 5 defensive end in the nation. And now he is the primary sub tonight for Arden Key, and they think he could be the next Arden Key. They think his potential is that sky high.
Yeah, you want to know why? It's rocket science, man. It's crazy. It's just how in-depth you are. No, it's you look like that. I want you to play for me. It is that high test that those scouts love. You look like Arden Key a little bit, and then you are unbelievably fast and twitchy. We'll teach you how to play the game.
It's the pass rushers down. 3rd down and 4 for BYU. Mangum. Right at the sticks, incomplete for Matt Bushman. And that one hurts for the Cougars. They get to midfield, but they'll have to kick it away.
And that was an in-between throw. I threw a pick on the last series. It's a 3rd down.
Rashard Lawrence may have gotten a piece of this football on the way out as well. Did just a bit.
Did. Yep. That's the right read. The ball is out.
Linehan trying to change field position. That takes an LSU hop back closer to the 20-yard line. And it will be down at the 18. Danny Entling with a 2-touchdown lead. Heading back out with LSU in a moment. We return with a look at tonight's hardest working player, brought to you by Duluth. And if you want some inspiration, here is J.J. Robertson, a 14-year-old battling a chronic liver disease. The website of his foundation can give you some details, but he has been through many surgeries. He was 1 year old when he had a liver transplant. Complications left him in a coma for close to a year. He inspired us all back at the ESPYs.
Sure did. And he's inspired this football team, and he's part of the program. And seeing the folks down on the field before the game, and even got a chance to catch up with JJ. He is right there at practice. And you asked me earlier about Ed Orgeron. Why could it be a little different? What happened then to now? I think that's a part of it as well. But just trusting the people around you. And the first time you have a job, you micromanage, you try to control. And he wasn't ready for it at Ole Miss. He's more than ready for it now at LSU.
Geis lined up as the H-back that time, dropped behind the line by Sione Takitaki.
You guys were talking about JJ, and I have to say, watching him before the game, he is like a rock star down here. I mean, fans are yelling for his autograph. Darius Geis is mugging it up with him. You can tell how much, not just this team, this entire community absolutely loves him, and for good reason. He really is a rock star.
He has some personality. Loss of 5, though, on 1st down, or 4.5. So it will be 2nd down and long. This is the first snap offensively for LSU where Geis is on the sideline. Darrell Williams, straight ahead run. He's got room into the secondary and a 1st down. That's a tough one for the BYU defense to give up just after you get a negative play and a chance to back up LSU. A straight ahead run on 2nd and 14. Gets your 1st down.
And you do all this motion, right, and some of that window dressing, but it's old-fashioned football. It's right in the middle. It's Will Clapp. It's been both Charles and Ingram rotating the two true freshman guards. Brumfield, the left guard. Just watch them handle the interior numbers of BYU. That's been the difference.
Toss to Geis to the sideline. Bottled up. A gain of about 4. I'll wrap up your Labor Day weekend on ESPN. The Chick-fil-A kickoff game between number 25 Tennessee and Georgia Tech from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Coverage begins Monday night, 8 Eastern on ESPN. Also streaming live on the ESPN app.
And you know where that game is going to be defined? Right there inside the tackles. Can Georgia Tech create movement and create lanes for their triple option run? Tennessee having the entire month of August to do their best to get ready for it.
Hand off to DJ Chark. 1st down.
DJ Chark came back for his senior year after having a conversation with Matt Canada and knowing the opportunity he would have in this offense, the big playmaking opportunities. And how did Canada demonstrate that to him? Well, he showed him receivers' numbers from every school he's been the OC at, the number of catches they have. He said, we spread the ball around, but the best player gets the most catches.
Well, Darius Geis, the best player, and he has certainly gotten the most touches. But you think about LSU being DBU, it's wide receiver U as well. They got Malachi Dupree and Trayvon Durrell were drafted last year. Brandon LaFell, Ruben Randall, Dwayne Bowe, all with solid NFL careers. And Odell Beckham and Jarvis Landry are 1-2 in most receptions ever in the first 3 years of an NFL career.
Yeah, but unfortunately, it's been bad QBU as well.
Yes. Hand off to Geis. He's got a first down. Forward progress right at the marker. Looked like he squeezed it past him without measurement. They will say first down. And that has to be, over the years, the most frustrating part of being an LSU fan. Just in that one dynamic, you see what these receivers go on to the next level and accomplish in the NFL. And you're right. You're looking at the quarterback play that they had when they were in college with them. You're thinking what a Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham and Ruben Randall and so on and so forth might have been capable of in college, even more so had they had NFL quarterback play alongside. Another jet sweep. This time it's Russell Gage. That's 6 more.
Well, you can change that dynamic, and Matt Canada has. Just look at the list of guys that he has worked with, a couple of them seniors, just like Edling, who got to inherit him in a what he calls very quarterback-friendly system. And this isn't overly complicated. They've run about 7 or 8 plays tonight. That is about it. I mean, all of this window dressing, it's different formations, it's different movement, but it's jet sweep, it's inside zone run, and then it's a very simple progression-based passing offense. I think that's why he's had so much success with those guys he's inherited on 1 year.
Darrell Williams breaking tackles. Another LSU first down.
Brock, to your point about this LSU offense and what makes it work, it was really interesting to talk to the different guys about how Matt Canada taught them. You know, Toby Weathersby, their tackle, was like, I feel like a skill guy, all the movement I've got going on. But Darius Geis said it's the easiest offense he's ever learned.
Little pop pass. Easy pitch and catch. And that is good for another first down. Foster Morrow picks it up.
And just look at the body language of BYU defensively. They play a lot of people. They're spent. Their eyes are all over the place. You're getting mowed down at the point of attack, hands on hips. The big fella's inside, can't control it, and the edge eyes are lost.
Bouncing outside this time, Darrell Williams, and a flag thrown as Matt Hadley came up and made a good one-on-one tackle at the line of scrimmage.
Holding, number 77, offense, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's a true freshman right guard, Sadiq Charles. Unless they misidentify the player, it might be another true freshman guard, Ed Ingram, that picked up the holding penalty. Got the wrong true freshman.
Good takedown. Those guys have been aggressive inside, though. And you're right, you think sometimes that simplicity is only for the quarterback or those wide receivers. Allison spot on. It frees those guys up front as well.
Williams inside the 25, 4-5. And this now becomes vital, you would think, for BYU defensively. If they have any hope of staying in this game, you can't give up another touchdown. And that holding penalty set up 1st and 20, now 2nd and 15. And now it will be about 3rd down and 10 as DJ Chark makes the catch. So a 3rd down and 10 red zone stop opportunity. This is a must, you would think, for the BYU defense.
So you be the defensive coordinator. You played zone, and they've thrown underneath it and completed 2 3rd and 8s earlier. Right, you bring pressure. Do you feel good about your one-on-one matchups? If you're Elisa Tuiaka right there, Tuiaki making the call right here, I don't think you do. I think you have got to play this fairly conservatively, and your guys up front have to get a push. Just don't think you have the speed on the perimeter to match up one-on-one. And they stay in that zone concept.
Only a four-man rush. Etling off his back foot, bobbled and bottled up as Darrell Williams. About 4 yards shy of the first down. So it will be a field goal opportunity for LSU. And BYU will have time before halftime to get the football back with all 3 of their timeouts and maybe get some points on the board. They also deferred their option to the second half. So BYU has a chance to string together back-to-back possessions as they'll start the third quarter as well with the ball. Flags down.
Full start. Number 65, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
I mentioned to you the 6'9" Corbin Kavusi. How about big fella? How about Mo Longi? 6'7", 410. No way. No way he's 410. He's upwards of 450, and they put him right over the ball.
He's in on field goal and punt block for good reason. No good. So that is a swing of momentum for BYU as Jack Gonsolin can't hit. BYU still down by only 14 with the football when we come back.
All ESPN coverage is streaming live on the ESPN app. Download now and take ESPN everywhere.
The ESPN app is a fan's best friend. It was our best friend this afternoon. You can stream live all of our games and shows and highlights and podcasts. Everywhere you go, ESPN goes with you. Just take the app along. We were in the lobby of our hotel, and we did not miss the end of the NC State South Carolina game because we were watching it right on the phone. I've got my favorites all dialed in there. Jets, Mets, Rangers, Knicks, all the teams I grew up rooting for. And I've not gotten many alerts on my phone from the BC football and basketball favorites. Not sure why. Of late. Big opportunity here before halftime. Talon Shumway picks up 8 on first down. And Brock, this may be a game-defining possession before halftime for BYU.
Points. For that to be a touchdown, you're going to get the ball to start the second half. Points, points, points. The only thing you're thinking.
Mangum under pressure, scrambles forward, has a first down, and stumbles out to about the 34-yard line. Quickly back to Adnan. Matt Bushman with a sliding catch. Just like Adnan, Kevin Shattenkirk gave his dream job a hometown discount. Proud of Adnan for doing that with ESPN. 57 seconds to go in the half, and it looks like a timeout is called by BYU. Down by 14, but moving the football before halftime. Welcome back to the Advocare Texas kickoff in Louisiana at the Superdome because of the relocation due to the devastating effects of Hurricane Harvey in Houston. So again, we want to send all of our thoughts and prayers to everyone that is struggling through the recovery there. Know that you have all of our support, and we certainly want to thank everyone for making it such a seamless transition to take the game from Houston to New Orleans on short notice. Again, you can help people affected by Hurricane Harvey by going to redcross.org/ESPN and making a donation. Under a minute to go after the BYU timeout. Only a 4-man rush. Mangum well protected. High over the head of Matt Bushman, his tight end. It will be 3rd down and 6.
LSU all 3 timeouts left here. You have got to find a completion if you're Kalani Sitake. As quick a tempo as LSU is capable of playing on the other side, you get the ball to begin the second half. You hold them. The missed field goal, as dominant as it's been in every statistical measure in this first half, you are still within range, really on the road here. But this becomes an awfully big third down to continue to possess the ball here in the first half.
Play clock at 5. Barely get the snap off. Here comes the blitz. Mangum over the middle, up the seam, low throw, and almost intercepted by Ed Paris. Tanner Mangum told us his favorite route to his favorite target is up the seam to Matt Bushman. He had what he wanted there, but just pulled the string a bit and underthrew it.
Yeah, I don't know if he did, but I would disagree just a little bit. You're right. He had the matchup he wanted, but he had a safety sitting right behind, and it limits the kind of throw. The ones that Ty Detmer, who you see him talking to there, did so masterfully for so many years. Can't put any air on it because that safety is sitting right behind it.
So a bad decision to go there
right.
with the football.
Yeah, I think so. Almost predetermined, it felt like.
The rugby kick. That Chark will field on a hop at the 15-yard line and head south instead of north. 38 seconds to go in the half. Red Sox and Yankees at it again. Our Sunday night baseball game at a special time, a half hour earlier on Labor Day weekend, 7:30 Eastern. It's the 4-game series finale, and our coverage begins at 7 Eastern on ESPN with baseball tonight, Sunday night countdown, both streaming live on the ESPN app. And Aaron Judge has gone as south as you can go after the All-Star break. A $181 and only 7 home runs since he thrilled all of us in the home run derby.
Game of adjustments, especially for young players.
But Gary Sanchez in the second half for the Yankees has lit it up and has picked up a lot of the production that has been left out for Aaron Judge. A huge game for the Yankees. They have to take 3 or 4 to have any chance at staying in the AL East race. Leaping and keeping the play alive was Russell Gage. He picks up 9. And if BYU doesn't call a timeout, that might take us to halftime.
How much fun are these wide receivers at LSU having? And all those names you mentioned that are in the NFL now starring, how many of them are looking at this tonight going, man, I wish I had jet sweeps and posts and outcuts and all this creative offense. And frankly, it's not even that creative. As I said, this has been just a handful of different plays, but the beauty in it, right, the simplicity of it, is you do it from enough unique looks, that defense can't find it.
152 yards rushing in the first half for LSU, and they've got a 2-touchdown lead. Back to the studio now. It's the halftime report. Here's Adnan Burke.
I guess.
Welcome back to the Advocare Texas Kickoff, presented on ESPN by Geico. Here at the Superdome, LSU with a 14-point lead at halftime as number 13 taking on BYU and looking like a pretty dominant team, especially up front. Bob Wischusen, Brock Heward, Allison Williams will join us again in just a moment. 152-4. Those were the rushing numbers in the first half. Is there any way that BYU on both sides of the ball via the line of scrimmage can turn that around?
Could be a real challenge, but is there any way? Yeah, you come out and you score. You have got to do something positive on this drive. But Kalani Sitake had to be very disappointed going into halftime. You may not have the perimeter skill. You don't have all the pretty athletes and the speed, but you have physical kids, and they were not physical in that first half. They were outmatched at that line of scrimmage, and I know that was the messaging at halftime, is to come out and you've got to be much, much more emotional and a whole lot more physical to try to match up.
Well, they will start the third quarter with the football. Jonah Trinnaman with a flag down on the return. Gets wrestled down out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Flag thrown on the opposite side of the field, back inside the 20.
During the return, holding. Number 10, receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
You reference those rushing yards and you keep it simple. You know, they say at times the complexity is the enemy of execution, and there was not a whole lot of variety to the run games. It was inside zone and jet sweep. It was running through people. It was those yards after contact. BYU was available. They played a lot of soft zone, so they would bend and hopefully not break, but the yards after contact and the disparity, astonishing in the first 30 minutes. Geis is good, Williams is good, but this is a crew that prides themselves on their ability to tackle, and it's got to be a lot better in the second half.
Davika Fanua looking for some room. A gain of 2. Let's check in with Allison.
We have to meet and match their aggression and physicality. That's what BYU head coach Kalani Sitake told his team at the half. Now, obviously, they've struggled stopping the run, but they're not going to change a lot schematically. For them, it's about how hard they play. The numbers don't look good for BYU right now. They're being outmatched in a lot of categories, but he said, look, we're down 14-0. That's not that bad, and we're ready to show we're a much better team here in the second half.
They come out with the big back. So they back up those words, and Fanua is a 220-pound converted linebacker. Sitake knows they have to establish some semblance of that run game.
He just limped off the field. Wide open over the middle, though. That's a chunk play out to the 30-yard line to Matt Bushman. Flag down in the offensive backfield.
Defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Tack on 15 more as Greg Gilmore roughed the passer.
And for the first time, Tanner drops back and has an open receiver. Oh, are we in an NFL stadium? We're going to protect these quarterbacks like the NFL guys.
That becomes 32 total yards with the penalty tacked on to the end of a 17-yard pitch and catch to Matt Bushman.
Seen a lot more not called.
Greg Gilmore might not know his own strength. His off-season training program, by the way, he and Frank Herron, they take turns pushing his car up and down an alley. Old school. Squally Canada up the middle for a yard. Now, a couple of plays ago, Kavika Fanua limped off the field. Squally Canada was banged up in the first half. He has been able to return. KJ Hall left with what looked like a very serious arm injury in the first half, so he's not going to be back. So yes, there is a group, and there's Fanua getting worked on the trainer's table. It's a group effort at running back for BYU, but against a physical defensive front for LSU, the Cougars are having that running back group thinned out a bit by injury. Now it's Trey Dye who dots the I. Play action though for Mango. Sidearms one. Dye finds the football in traffic and picks up 2 yards. Run over by Ed Alexander. Here comes a big third down. 3rd and 7.
I'm feeling like Tanner is predetermining a few times. This is a little naked, right? Little play action. Look at his fullback in the flat. He has him wide open, and that is 1-2. Right, it is 1-2. It is always to that flat first, and then you come back inside. And I know why, because his clock is sped up. So he's trying to get the ball out and determine where he's going pre-snap, but you have got to read that progression all the way through.
Play clock's at 8 as they break the huddle. They may have to spend a timeout here. Play clock at 4 as they try and get set. He calls quickly for the ball. They get the snap off unless a timeout was called by BYU from the sideline. And it was. So Kalani Sitake did not like the fact that his team was rushing up to the line late to come out of the huddle. They have to spend a timeout. Taco Bell is a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout for the Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all year long. And it is basically the Death Valley student section that's made their way to the Dome. Right down. So far this opening weekend of college football, good teams taking on inferior opponents and looking bad for a long time before finally taking control of a game.
And remember, they're hitting less and less the two-a-days. Those days of we used to practice 10, 15 years ago, those are gone as well.
Etling, quick out to the sideline to Russell Gage. What's been the biggest surprise
for 6-7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter at the Coliseum with arguably the best player in college football coming into this? And to see Texas melt down. Ohio State, they got it going, hostile environment. Washington did as well. Rutgers, Maryland, a whole lot better at the bottom of the Big Ten. In Texas, Tom Herman wants to develop just the guts and the fortitude. And you didn't see that in the fourth quarter.
Long throw and weaving his way for a first down is DJ Chark. Well, I thought that Texas's defense today, I'm not sure you can use a word other than embarrassing for how they played. I mean, against a Maryland team that should never out-physical Texas and outspeed them as well. As Darius Geis picks up 4. Think about Texas, a ranked team at home, trying to set a new theme, new tempo, new era with their brand new head coach. They get a pick 6 to start the game.
Yep.
They get a blocked field goal for a touchdown. They get a punt return for a touchdown. So at home, as a ranked team, you get 2 touchdowns on special teams and a defensive touchdown, and you still lose? Your defense has to be awful for that to happen. And they were. Second and 6. Geis into the secondary. And this methodical LSU attack on offense continues to mow down BYU. That's 12 more for Darius Geis.
And you start out with some easy pitch and catch. And right now, Danny Etling is 11-12. And then it is not terribly complex. I mean, this isn't power. This isn't counter. This is just zone. It's just running it right at what should be the teeth and the strength of BYU. But I'll say it again, as I said in the first half, these safeties have kept everything in front.
Plays under further review.
If that play stands, Darius Geis has gone over 100 yards for the 8th time in his career, but there's something that the officials want to look at. And apparently the officials may have had the replay booth buzzed down to see if a targeting call is going to be initialized right there.
Forcible contact to the head or neck area, the crown of your helmet. Good on you, replay booth. We don't see that a lot, right, over the course of the season.
That looks like a textbook example of leading with the crown of your helmet, which
you're lunging,
was
you're
not
leading
called.
with the crown, and it is forcible. Right, we saw this earlier a couple different times. Actually, the Michigan game. Right, the Michigan-Florida game, there were a couple of these occasions.
After review, there was targeting on the play by number 7, BYU. Number 7 is disqualified. 15-yard penalty, first down.
And it is the only way that you change the strike zone for these hitters. This was not a bang-bang play. Right, there's times that you can make excuses and apologies for defenders as quick as things happen. He is watching Geis coming at him. Is Tanneman, and remember, he was also ejected in the bowl game. Missed the first half last week, and that is a situation, Micah, where you have got to change your strike zone. Forcible contact to the head or neck area is not going to be tolerated in college football.
And if a BYU fan is wondering, wait, he's a runner, he's not a defenseless player. It is not forcible contact with the crown of the helmet to a defenseless player. You lead with the crown of your helmet the way Micah Hanneman did, even on a runner. That's targeting. And it's a good call, initiated by the replay booth. Etling off play action, long throw to the sideline, drops it in on a dime to Russell Gage. First and goal, LSU at the 10. Let's go back to Adnan. All right, Adnan, thanks very much. Darrell Williams up the middle for a gain of 3 as Hanneman heads to the locker room after the targeting call. And that is a devastating injury to DeAndre Francois if it is long term.
That fast. That fast.
Yeah, your whole season can change on one play.
And that fast, Hanneman is out, and Matt Canada, the established, confident, experienced coordinator, does what? He attacks the backup. A little scissors concept, a post corner, and no predetermined there by Etling. He wanted to throw the post, he hit it earlier. Nope, that corner is going to come open off of that, well executed.
Geis to the 6-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and goal.
And if it was a must to get that stop at the end of the second quarter, look at this game. I mean, this thing is flying. LSU's taking the air out of it. They limited possessions. They have shortened the game. BYU on the other side cannot get any consistent offense going. A touchdown here puts the Cougars in a hole that will be incredibly difficult to dig out of.
26 minutes to 11 so far, time of possession for LSU. Play action, Etling on a rollout. Extending the play with a pump fake. That's tipped out of bounds by Fred Warner. So it will be a short-range field goal for LSU. That's only the 2nd incompletion for Danny Etling.
And it was the right play. Yeah, there's not a negative on his grade sheet thus far. The timing, the tempo he's running this offense, and the efficiency are things you've not seen at LSU at that position very often.
Jack Gonsolin looking for his first field goal, 23 yards out. 17-0. The Bayou Bengals on top.
The 2017 AdvoCare Texas Kickoff is presented on ESPN by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And in part by Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
That's Mike the 7th. The latest Tiger. There he is. That has been named as the official mascot at LSU.
That's not.
A tradition that began all the way back in 1936. Mike the 7th brought on board this season. You're right, that's not Mike. And the proof there. Thank you for making sure we know.
I mean, that's what I'm here for, that kind of analysis.
That is.
You know, like we got from Dave Freed earlier when I asked him about the run game, our statistician in the booth.
Yeah.
Not good. BYU, not good.
Short kick. Treneman. Shy of the 20-yard line. He goes out of bounds at the 19. Well, ESPN's 5-star Labor Day weekend of college football continues tomorrow. Sunday night primetime on ABC. West Virginia and Virginia Tech. It's the Black Diamond Trophy game at FedEx Field. Our coverage kicks off at 7:30 Eastern, also streaming live on the ESPN app.
Kind of excited to see the bearded one. I mean, he was playing the position at Florida well in ways that others haven't since Tim Tebow before he finished as a Gator. And excited to see him in Dana's system, one that also, like LSU and Matt Canada, very quarterback friendly.
3 scores down now. Tanner Mangum just trying to get some points on the board, and that is a deflection at the line by Christian Lacouture.
Bob, Coach Sataki told me at the half that BYU needed to match the Tigers' aggression. I would say they need to do the same thing with their emotion. It is quiet. It just feels really flat on the sideline. I know they're down 17-0. It feels like they're getting beat by more. You can tell this team really needs something positive to happen.
They need points, even if just a field goal, to make it a 2-possession game again and see their offense cross the 50, get into plus territory. A swing pass to Trey Dye.
Anybody that's been in football, and you've called a lot of Jets games, and you know, with that feeling of just being suffocated, that you just can't get any air. There's just no big plays, that everything is difficult. And it's been that way when you can't run it offensively at all. I think for Sataki defensively, and maybe it's the next series, they have got to start being aggressive. You can do and control some of that defensively with your aggression and your calls, and they have brought almost no pressure tonight.
Well, they're 1 for 5 on 3rd down. They have 75 yards of total offense. When you have 75 yards of total offense, being down 17-0 feels like you're down 34-0. Mangum drops one in, but Talon Shumway can't hold on. Terry Vincent, a true freshman nickel, ran step for step with Talon Shumway, and it is another 3 and out.
And that's the play that you got to try to make, but they can coach at LSU. And Dave Aranda told me this week this is the hardest he's ever coached. And he's kind of digging it. Right at Wisconsin, a lot of gritty veteran football players came here, had a lot of seniors, 6 of them drafted in the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft. He's got a lot of kids, and he is coaching the details. And how about a true freshman going up and separating that ball right at the reception point with his hands?
Line drive, returnable for DJ Chark. Gets a step. Breaks a tackle. Still on his feet. All the way down to the LSU, the BYU 37-yard line. Finally, the punter, Johnny Linehan, was the one that brought him down. Only a 12-yard net change in field position for the Cougars. The wake of all of the pictures from Hurricane Harvey, of course you think back to the way the Mercedes-Benz Superdome became a symbol of the disaster after Katrina, and the Astrodome became a refugee center for victims from Katrina, as did the arenas on the campus of LSU, as so many were displaced from New Orleans and the surrounding areas. Allison?
Well, Matt Bushman, the BYU tight end, experienced that firsthand. He was in 4th grade living in New Orleans when his family had to evacuate due to Hurricane Katrina, and they went to Houston to stay with family. He said how sad it has been to see their place of refuge, the city they found a safe haven in, now experiencing that same kind of destruction. And while he hates the reason that this game is in New Orleans, he did say it is a dream as a Saints fan to play here in the Superdome against the team he grew up watching, LSU.
His first trip back since he was in 8th grade. That's Allison Williams. I'm Bob Wischusen here with Brock Heward. Past the midway point of the 3rd quarter, and it has been all LSU. They have outgained BYU 340 to 75 in terms of total yards. And Darius Geis adds to that total inside the 25-yard line down to the 24 with another LSU first down.
You know, and what is so clear is LSU defensively is so fast. And BYU and their big linemen, they just can't target them. They just cannot get a hat on the other side. BYU is massive in their front. I mean, they're big guys, 300+ pounds, and LSU can match that power in that weight, and they are just moving them off the ball. I mean, we've not called the names of Clapp and Charles and Ingram and Brumfield nearly enough. Malone up front. They've controlled this game.
Geis again. The first guy can't bring him down. Sometimes the second and third guys can't bring Darius Geis down. Another hard-working 3 or 4 yards, and now flags after the play.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 92, defense. This is number 92's first unsportsmanlike conduct foul of the game, half the distance to the goal, first down.
And that's the senior, handsome Tony Alu, who is now over on the sideline as he costs his team 15. And you snap your fingers, and it's just about first and goal again, just outside the 10-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for LSU.
And I guess if there's one area of focus, if you're LSU, this is it right here. Missed a field goal earlier when he got in the scoring zone, had to settle for a field goal, 1st and goal last time. This is where you could see some imagination come into play as well.
Or keep it simple and just keep giving it to number 5.
This feels like 5 out of the backfield.
Etling wanted the shovel pass. It wasn't there. He'll keep it instead and slide down inside the 5-yard line.
And it was going to be 5. And it was going to be one of the staples that Matt Canada ran over and over and over a season ago when they beat Clemson, when he was at Pitt, his marquee win. Really diversifying his scheme, and that's just yet another heads-up play. If you're wondering how Danny Etling was going to handle a new foreign language as a senior with a whole new system coming in, those concerns should be alleviated tonight. The snaps, the motions, I mean, it's been easy. This has not been the most difficult night to manage, but he's doing it flawlessly.
Geis inside the 5.
That was a nice play. Finally, Trajan Peely, the defensive end, slicing in, finally not letting those big guys get their hands on you and drive you backwards. That's probably my biggest surprise of this game, to be honest with you, Bob. It's just been stagnant. You know, Allison talked about emotionally on the sidelines, quiet, but the play up front has been so stationary, just allowing LSU to target you and move you.
LSU can pick up a first down inside the 1-yard line. Jet sweep. Stood up is John David Moore. And now it will be 4th down and about 1.5 yards from the 3. And without hesitation, and Orgeron says, you know what? Let's just take 3 more. Here comes the field goal group.
Nice job of containment there. Fred Warner, the senior, the leading tackler a year ago, keeps his contained, sheds the block, forces a field goal. It's about the only wins that you can give BYU tonight.
Second field goal for Jack Gonsolin. It's a 20-point lead for LSU late in the third quarter here in New Orleans.
West Virginia and Virginia Tech, rivals separated by just 220 miles.
He's the 5, heading to the end zone. He's in, touchdown! West Virginia wins the game.
Here comes a pressure, and down he goes, intercepted, touchdown, Virginia Tech Hokies. West Virginia and Virginia Tech both back in the top 25 preseason to start the year. 51 total meetings, and the Mountaineers lead by 6. The winner receives the Black Diamond Trophy. We'll have it for you tomorrow night.
Yeah, stage is theirs on a Sunday night. Pretty cool. What's pretty cool is calling Baton Rouge here, and all the hometown faithful getting pretty excited. And if you're Ty Detmer and you're Tanner Mangum, you have got to start calling for some offense. You have just simply got to hit a shot.
Fans would want to go for it inside the 5-yard line on 4th down and about a yard, yard and a half. And Ed Orgeron, you can see, I think, taking the easy 3, just doesn't want to give BYU any reason to think they've got some momentum or have any belief.
That's a good thing you started talking, because I was about to sing calling Baton Rouge too. It's about the most energy that you felt here, I think, in this building for some time.
Let's take a look at this week's college football rankings, brought to you by Goodyear. And Alabama does take out Florida State in convincing fashion. We talked about Ohio State, we talked about Washington, talked about Wisconsin, all struggling before finally pulling away and just outclassing their opponent.
And a lot of talk, is it advantageous to play a marquee opponent, 1 versus 3? The whole offseason, right, and the whole schedule, it sure can be, but when you get beat up as they did physically, and you sure hope the very best for DeAndre Francois, looked like a catastrophic lower leg injury. That's one of the dangers of playing an incredibly physical team like Alabama.
Talon Shumway in motion. Play action for Tanner Mangum. Under pressure, dodges a sack, floats one to the sideline. Incomplete, intended for Shumway. Ed Paris was there in coverage.
Ed Paris ran the route. So I asked for a shot, they come out with a shot. Little play action, try to slow down that rush, but unfortunately Ed Paris, well, he knows the go-to guy, Tanner Mangum. He knows it's going to be the tight end, and he can see the whole play developing in front of him. That is the advantage of having the elite speed they have.
How does play action work, or how do you expect it to work when you have 8 rushing yards?
You just hope to freeze young players in that front 7 as best you can. It's a decoy.
It'll be 3rd down and 10. Aleva Hifo, the intended receiver, as BYU has not made it into plus territory so far tonight.
Did that happen in a game here a few years back?
That's not something LSU fans want to talk about.
Oh, my bad.
They have crossed the 50 many times tonight. Unlike the game that you're referencing a handful of years ago. Mangum has 1 for his last 6. And only 1 completion on 3rd down.
Man-to-man.
And sacked. A 3-man rush got there as Corey Thompson came on a stunt. Right up the gut, and the BYU offensive line couldn't figure it out to protect Tanner Mangum.
Speed kills, and you're right, it was not a blitz. Very sound on the back end defensively, shoulder pad to shoulder pad. Every defensive back was within those routes. And it's a sinking feeling playing that quarterback position when you just don't see separation, and it forces you into some misses. 2nd down, he could hit that basic cross. He could make that throw, but that kind of pressure throughout the course of a game and every yard being so difficult takes toll.
DJ Chark bottled up, maybe a yard on the return. Now tonight's legendary moment brought to you by Destiny 2. Let's take a look back. Maybe the best moment ever for BYU football, the 1984 Holiday Bowl. They beat Michigan 24-17. Robbie Bosco leads the Cougs to 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns, and the Cougars eventually went on to win the national championship.
Remember watching those games as a kid, and that Holiday Bowl seemed like every time there's 100 points scored in those games. Must-see TV.
Etling off a play-action fake. Buys some time, spins, and picks up about 4 yards.
Just look at the study of the two quarterbacks. You've got one on the other side that everything is just bottled up, right? There's just no space for him in the pocket. There's no comfort level. And on the other, and this is like practice against the backups for Edling. I mean, he's just holding the ball. He's got space all around him. I got a shot here. I got a shot there. I got an easy completion. And when you dominate the line of scrimmage, it makes everybody else's job easier.
Williams, first down and more, right to midfield.
Talk about speed, it's so noticeable. I love this. Allison, what you discovered as you watched practice with the Tigers this week.
Yeah, you know, speed is synonymous with this conference, with the LSU Tigers. They're actually faster, though, at this point this year than they were last year by quite a bit. Coming out of fall camp last year, they averaged about 16.3 miles per hour as team speed. This year, 17.8 miles per hour. That is a huge jump. And a big reason for that is the way they practice. Short, quick practices. It's really increased their overall team speed. You can see it on the field, and they're talking about it on the sideline, saying these guys can't keep up with us.
Yeah, and I think what you see, Allison, it's at every position. So I think someone hears, hold on a second, 17 miles an hour, what does that mean? It means that every one of these guys has a GPS unit on them. They track everything, the amount of energy and acceleration and their overall speed. And as a team to be at those numbers, that's astounding. And it has to be a focus. You know, Ed Orgeron said, you asked him, what have you learned? You know, what did you learn your first stint to your second? All the people you've been around, and less is more. That when you've got this kind of talent, these kind of recruiting classes, you don't need to grind them into the ground. Get those legs fresh by game day and let them just run.
Well, they have ground them into the ground. Literally, LSU with 215 yards rushing through 3 quarters. (20-0) LSU over BYU in the 2017 Advocare Texas kickoff as we head to the 4th quarter, and there is no statistic we can show you that is more emblematic of what this game has been. There's no sugarcoating that. 215-1 in rushing yards for LSU. Darrell Williams adds to the total. Another first down for LSU. Bob Wischusen here with Brock Hewitt and Allison Williams in New Orleans. And it has been a physical pounding up front for that LSU offensive line against the defensive line for BYU. And it continues with Darrell Williams again.
Are you sure that's the most emblematic? You bet the house on that?
Okay. You got something better?
How about that one?
Well, I would say one statistic plays into the other.
Cause and effect. The BYU wanted to run. This isn't a matter of they're a team that's just going to throw it all over the yard. Their whole commitment to their game plan in this game was to run the football and to stop the run.
Again to Darrell Williams. 3rd down and 4, just outside the 30-yard line.
I mean, you look at those stats and you look at those numbers and you think, geez, this should be 42 to nothing. I mean, that kind of disparity. You've run twice as many plays at double the time of possession. But you got to settle for a couple field goals in the red zone. You missed one short field goal.
And Danny Etling has done exactly what this offense asks him to do. He is 12 of 14 for 162 yards. In the shotgun here on 3rd down. Swing pass to Clyde Edwards-Belaire. And the true freshman has a first down.
And he's yet another change of pace, and you can see just the body type. He's littler, he gets lost. But add him to the number of true freshmen you have seen come in tonight and not in any way be overwhelmed. And Hilaire, just 5'8", 208 pounds, same high school, in fact, as Darius Geis, Catholic high school down there in New Orleans.
And Travis Minor and Warwick Dunn. It's pretty good running back lineage. Williams into the red zone.
I should say Edwards Hilaire. Can I also say right now, give me a couple red zone shots. I think here's your time. BYU is very content to just play their zone coverage or quarters coverage with those safeties. And if I'm Danny Edling to Matt Canada, I'm saying give me a couple, let me throw it in the end zone here. Give me a double post. Give me an opportunity to finish, because I don't like this red zone production and settling for field goals. Give me a chance, trust me, to take a shot.
Matt Canada was the only offensive finalist for the Broyles Award last year for the top assistant. The end around, breaking a tackle is Russell Gage. And he stepped out at the 10-yard line. Just inside the 10, it will be 1st and goal.
And Matt says, nope. That's why you talk for a living and I play calls for a living. Or I make calls for a living. You keep telling me what to do. I'm kind of liking what we're doing. We're completely in control of this game. And I'm really not having to divulge my entire playbook as well. And won't have to against Chattanooga, and then Mississippi State will be out on the road. But you do want to find red zone touchdowns.
Williams to the 5-yard line, still on his feet inside the 5. Well, it does play into what Matt Canada told us his view of Danny Edling is. That, I think, is a microcosm of how they've approached this game. Said we ask him to manage and distribute and put the ball in the proper place to the proper player. That's it. Said stay in your lane. I say it all the time. I say it to every player on the offense, not just the quarterback. But do your job. He said it's Bill Belichickian, and I get that. But stay in your lane and do your job.
This feels like play pass.
There is a play action fake. And Edling throws it away. Keep it mistake free. Let's see Oni Taki in pursuit. It'll be 3rd down and goal.
I give you a little tell sometimes when you see those quarterbacks go to their wristband. Right, it's a little, those are typically a little longer verbiage plays, and those are the ones when you get down there that. And I remember red, right, tight, close, sprint, left, G, U corner, halfback, flat, because I couldn't remember it when I was a rookie, and I didn't have it on a wristband. But those are the ones that typically take a little bit more to spit out when you get into the goal line or the red zone areas.
He's on the wristband here on 3rd and goal.
Just compared to like earlier, solo right 30 dive.
Play clock at 2. And they do get the snap off. Swing pass at the pylon. Short of the end zone is Darrell Williams. 4th and goal at the 1. And the whole offensive line is pointing over to the sideline, agreeing with the crowd, telling Ed Orgeron, leave us out here, we want to go for it. And Ed Orgeron agrees with the crowd and his own offensive line. They will go for it on 4th and goal. Clock winding down. Williams. And some pride shown by that BYU defense. They get a goal-to-go stop. Kairos Tonga, a freshman, led the charge for BYU as the Cougars take over on downs inside their own 5.
Well, they've been pushed around all night long, but eventually at 350 pounds, you beat a block, and for the first times, you finish it.
Five-star Labor Day weekend of college football continues tomorrow. A Sunday night primetime matchup on ABC. West Virginia, Virginia Tech, the Black Diamond Trophy game at FedEx Field. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern. Of course, that game and all of our games can be seen streaming live on the ESPN app. Well, the good news for BYU, they get a goal-to-go stop. The bad news, they have to start from their own 3-yard line. And they have been manhandled at the point of attack all night on both sides of the football by the LSU offensive and defensive front. And on first down, maybe a half yard for Braden El-Bakri.
And you've also lost 2 tailbacks tonight. KJ Hall with an arm injury that looked very severe. We have not seen Fanua back after his knee injury. What you do see is press man-to-man.
A rollout for Mangum in the end zone. Has to unload it. It will be 3rd down and long. Ray Thornton was after Tanner Mangum in the end zone.
Dave Aranda, one of the best in the business. He is just going to have head jobs galore to turn down. And amazing. Last year they gave up on the season 16 touchdowns. 16 touchdowns through the entirety of the season. 147 possessions, and BYU yet to even come close to the 50-yard line tonight.
Slant. And BYU very close to a first down, as Talon Shumway is brought down a yard shy. And with 9:20 to go in the game, down by 3 touchdowns, you would think they would be compelled to go for it. But Tanner Mangum is trotting off the field. To me, this is waving the white flag here by not going for it on 4th and 1.
Got to extend that ball. You've got to have a feel and an awareness when you're at that line of scrimmage of where you have got to get to.
Fake punt. The longest delayed fake punt decision by Johnny Linehan you'll ever see. They do eventually end up going for it and come up a yard and a half shy. It is a turnover on downs at the 12-yard line.
Well, that was not a called fake, and you heard it right there. Kalani Stocky had a fun one last year. He called it fun. Said he may see some more fun this year. Nothing fun about that. It is kick the ball. There is an option there, but clearly, as you see Sataki, and he is the epitome of a player's coach. He's going to have the back, and he's going to support his guys. But there's a level of frustration. Kick the ball.
And off Darrell Williams. Cut back at the 5. At the goal line. He's in. That's an LSU touchdown.
One of the themes in those rushing yards that we have seen tonight is the yards after contact. Put 3 more. Ooh, and that knee was down. We will see exactly if that ball did indeed cross the plane of the goal line. But yet again, more and more and more yards after contact. It's not just the big fellas creating the push. It is these backs running over and through a worn down Cougar defense.
The replay booth obviously will want to take a closer look at whether or not Williams got the ball across the plane before his knee went down. It was called a touchdown on the field, so the video has to be indisputable that the ball did not break the plane. His knee goes down just inside the 1-yard line. Where's the football? You have to be able to see the football to say definitively that the call on the field was wrong. This might be a better look, although it's not right down the goal line, so almost impossible to tell from that angle where the ball is in relation to the goal line.
But we saw this earlier today in the NC State South Carolina game. You can put those 2 looks together, and you could see that shot of when the knee was down from the other side. He never extended the football past or touching that plane whatsoever.
And boy, that is probably about as good a look as we will have in terms of being right down the goal line. But the ball disappears behind a few bodies. And at some point to say that you have indisputable video evidence to overturn the call that's made on the field, one of these angles has to include the football.
But you patch those together, and you never saw him extend the football at any point, and you do know when the knee went down.
Here's the review.
He's down prior to the ball breaking the plane to the goal line. It will be 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line.
I agree with that.
Well, that would probably be 2nd and goal at about the 1-inch line.
Yeah, the NC State-South Carolina game, very, very similar. Late in that game, under 5 minutes to play. And same deal, players blocking, referees blocking, but you put those two together side by side. That's the right call.
I think this should be 1st and goal. The ball, I think, was at the 12-yard line. And it is 1st and goal. At the 1. And maybe this is just delaying the inevitable with the way that LSU has run the ball at will tonight against BYU.
Although the runner did not score a touchdown, he did reach the line to gain it. It's 1st and goal.
So 1st and goal at the 1. Darrell Williams into the end zone. That makes it official. There is an LSU touchdown. And that one leaves no doubt.
If you thought Matt Canada was going to come to LSU and throw the ball all over the yard, you thought wrong. You're not going to deviate from a style that has won you so many games around here for a long time. You will play elite defense. You will have more speed than most people you play, and you are certainly going to be committed to dominating the line of scrimmage. You know that's the way to championships, and it's the way to a big victory tonight.
The 2017 Advocare Texas Kickoff, presented on ESPN by Geico, is brought to you by Advocare. We build champions. Shop and learn more at advocare.com. And Gildan, your go-to brand for t-shirts and underwear.
Well, J.J. Robertson, the 14-year-old battling the chronic liver disease. At 1 year of age, he had a liver transplant that resulted in complications that left him in a coma for close to a year. And he is earning a good time on that LSU sideline. Speaking of a successful event, close to 54,000 in the Superdome tonight on 3 days of ticket sales. Because remember, this is the Advocare Texas Kickoff, but it was moved just this week because of the flooding in Houston from Hurricane Harvey. Right down the road to New Orleans. Trineman upended at the 12-yard line. So poor field position for a BYU team that only has 76 yards of total offense with 8:08 to go.
Okay, this is the LSU Tigers, not the Clemson Tigers, the LSU Tigers.
Hey, now, Coach, how you doing now? We're going to go out there and we're going to play really good football now, Coach.
Kind of talks like, jumbles every kind of all those words together and everything, but he's a Tiger.
You know what? It just doesn't feel right to duplicate it. I don't know that one can be duplicated. Sorry.
Go Tigers!
You have to go first.
Well, first of all, there's no pocket square.
You know the best play football in there, bro. Don't you? Say fumble best play football in there, bro.
That's exactly what he said on our conference call. His defense has done some kind of job tonight. Slant thrown behind the intended receiver, and I think we asked him who his best conversationalist was on the
Don't
team.
duck this. What is it? Go.
And I think his answer was Darius guy. Go to the movies with Darius, and he's sitting next to me and my wife, and I can't get a word in it. I can't watch the movie because Darius just keep on talking.
What'd you say?
And then I said, you back that up. I didn't quite catch that. You have to tell the whole story again. Yeah, he is a character. Those are the Brock Ewart and Bob Wischusen Coach Orgeron impersonations.
We'll be performing
it is time for the Allison Williams version.
All right, guys, here we go. We're going to have one team, one heartbeat. All right, there we're going to play for each other. We're going to have each other's back. We're going to win this ball game. One team, one heartbeat. Here we go. Go Tigers.
God, I hope he didn't hear that. He was awfully close for that.
I think he's got other things on his mind.
Allison, you got some Cajun in you? That was amazing.
It's more about the gravel in the voice, right? Gotta get real low. Gotta get real low. One team, one heartbeat, guys. That's how we're gonna play. That's how we're gonna win this ball game.
I think the cartoon bubble coming out of his head right now is that exact phrase. 3rd down and 9. Tanner Mangum with a hookup. Micah Simon. A 3rd down conversion out to the 28-yard line.
We're 22 yards away from the 50.
.93 yards of total offense in the game for BYU. They have been outrushed by LSU 258-2.
This would be the guy, and they like to get him vertically if there is a shot to be had down the field at any point.
4-man rush. Mangum steps up. That's batted down. Just lurking in the middle of the field was Ed Paris. He almost got a pick.
Dave Aranda really credited Ed Paris. One of these veterans, you have so much youth. As I said earlier to you, he feels like he's coached harder than he ever has, but he loves the challenge of it, of taking athletes and making them into really elite football players. And he was proud of their efforts last year with Jamal Adams and Kendall Beckwith, and so many guys that got drafted very highly into the NFL felt like they made some real strides. And now he's got some clay, some freshmen to mold here for some time.
Mangum with a shoulder fake, and down he goes. The ball pops out. I think they will rule him down. Rashard Lawrence and Greg Gilmore sandwiched him for the sack. Back at the 21-yard line with 6.5 to go.
Yeah, that's a technique BYU will use, where their defensive line will cut down those defenders. Watch them all in unison. They're going to try to cut down that defensive line, and that can work against some. But when you're playing the athletes the caliber of LSU, the Gilmores and the Lawrences, they see that coming, and they'll put their hand on the ground. Just the drills that they do. Hand on those pads, just jump right over and get right in the face of the quarterback.
Mangum on a rollout, across his body, dangerous throw, somehow squeezes it in, and it's Matt Bushman that makes the catch, and he took a heavy hit. It'll be 4th down and 6.
And here's that technique. You'll see 4 of the 5 offensive linemen, and you're just trying to cut their hands down. Balls have been batted. You've just not been able to target them in the run game or protection. The caliber of athlete, a little bit different down on the Bayou.
And once again, with the game well out of reach, Kalani Sitake decides not to expose his quarterback to any more possible hits. It's the punt group out there on 4th down. And that time Johnny Linehan wasted no time in getting the kick away. And it rolls down to the 25-yard line. Under 5 minutes to go. LSU looking very much like a top 10 team tonight, not just number 13.
All ESPN coverage is streaming live on the ESPN app. Download now and take ESPN everywhere.
There is never a better time than college football season to have the ESPN app. You can watch our game, any game that you want. They're all streaming live on the ESPN app. Just download it, take it with you anywhere, anytime. And And we were able to see Dave Pasch, Greg McElroy, Tom Luganville call the final seconds of the South Carolina-NC State game right from the lobby of our hotel, watching on the phone before we walked over here. Didn't miss the end of the game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire out to about the 33-yard line with Miles Brennan taking over at quarterback for Danny Etling. Done for the night. 14 of 17, $173.
Everything you wanted to see if your new offensive coordinator, Matt Canada. You wanted to see him manage, make good decisions. The ball was never in a bad spot. There was never a turnover risk. Manage all the motion, all the jet sweep, which is the timing of the snap and the cadence. Hardly got hit tonight. And the last time an LSU quarterback, 14 of 17, that clean and that efficient, in a long time.
Edwards-Helaire behind the line, brought down at the 30, a loss of about 3. Adam Pulsifer with a tackle for loss. It will be 3rd down and 4.
Maybe a lot of guys' heartbeats are pretty chill on that sidelines, but not a true freshman quarterback taking his very first snaps. Let's see if he gets that mouthpiece into the mouth. That'll be a little tell after he calls the play, or if things are racing a little fast. Nothing like your first snaps. It's a college player.
A top 100 player on our ESPN 300. He set Mississippi high school records over 15,000 yards passing. And here an easy little check down for a first down. Freshman to freshman to Edwards-Helaire.
And the mouthpiece stayed in the face mask, and that's all right. Just do the simple things first, find your completions. But in time, I promise you, either the mouthpiece will get thrown to the sidelines or it'll go protect those teeth. But he's a gifted kid. There was some conversation. I don't know how legitimate really behind the scenes. There was competition, but he ascended. Others have transferred around him. And he's going to get an opportunity to watch a senior quarterback do it this season. Do his job behind the scenes and put him in position for some time.
Another jet sweep. This is Derek Dillon. Steps out of bounds after a gain of 8. Well, in the NFL now, where the game is at its most complicated, where the defenses are at their most exotic, it is now just common practice to draft a quarterback in the first round and play him. There's no tutelage. There's no holding the clipboard. There's no taking a year or two behind a veteran. You get drafted into the NFL as a rookie and you play. Because if you are a high draft choice in the first round as a quarterback, you're probably on a team that's bad. As a result, that team has no problem saying, great, go make your mistakes. 2nd down and 2. Edwards-Helaire with a first down and then some. And so I'm wondering, from Miles Brennan's standpoint, now the college version, going from high school to college, isn't it beneficial to spend a year on the headset listening to Matt Canada and watching Danny Etling do what he does and learning how to play the position?
I wasn't ready. Yeah, I can only speak from my own experience. I mean, there was no way. My older brother Damon was the starter when I did get a chance to redshirt, and I was miles ahead. I mean, any coach will tell you in college football, no matter what the position, but even especially quarterback, the jump you make from your freshman to your sophomore year will be the biggest jump you will ever make at that position. And that was certainly my life experience.
Edwards-Helaire, a flag down as he picks up about 1.5 yards. And looks like a shift against LSU.
Illegal motion. Player went in motion from the line of scrimmage. Offense, 5-yard penalty. First down.
We'll wrap up your Labor Day weekend on ESPN. The Chick-fil-A kickoff game, number 25 Tennessee and Georgia Tech, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. Coverage begins Monday, 8 Eastern on ESPN, also streaming live on the ESPN app. There might be some rushing yards piled up in that game.
Yeah, another game that should move kind of like this one tonight, I think, pretty quickly. You know, back to that point about listening on the headsets, you can take a look on the other sidelines. That was a lot of the conversation with Tanner Mangum. The last year he got a chance to really do that and to listen, and the advantage that you think you can gain through doing that, watching Taysom Hill and supporting him. But it comes down to that supporting cast. Right, you mentioned those guys in the NFL. They go to bad franchise and cripple you for your career. You go to a good franchise, Roethlisberger or Russell Wilson, and get thrown in early, you can find a lot of success.
Now, when we were growing up watching football, not only was it not unusual, it was common practice in the NFL for a first-round draft choice to hold the clipboard for a year or two. Absolutely. To be tutored and to learn. But now in the instant gratification, what have you done for me lately Twitter world, there is a lot of pressure on coaches to get the marketable, ticket-selling, hotshot quarterback in the game and into your season as fast as possible. And now if you get drafted in the NFL as a quarterback in the first round, you play immediately.
Number 80, offense.
Well, to flip it back to the script just a little bit, Bob, there's a lot of pressure tonight on Ed Orgeron coming out, playing in the Superdome and having nearly 60,000. And they're all wearing purple and gold in the stands and want to see you as a head coach. You got the job. And then what was your supporting cast going to look like? You knew Dave Aranda was really good. The defense was elite a season ago. But could you put that offense together against a physical team, Kalani Sitake and his Cougars, that don't back down? But tonight, physically overwhelmed. And outside of a couple red zone touchdowns, the only reason this game isn't 44-0.
And looking ahead at what LSU has on the near horizon, by the time they take on Florida in the Swamp, potentially as a 5-0 team, they're going to be well up the board past 13th.
You didn't see a number of players tonight suspended from this game.
That's true.
I mean, you didn't see a starting corner, Tolliver and Alexander, the linebacker, and Arden Key, their best defender.
Yeah, that's 3 top-line starters for a defense that held BYU to under 100 yards of total offense.
And Arden coming off the shoulder injury, different than the other two, but they're loaded. They're loaded athletically, and I'll tell you that I think if you're a coordinator getting your team ready for week 1, you just want to see them have fun and to play fast. And they did in every facet of the game and thoroughly dominated a BYU team that's going to be disappointed about those 60 minutes.
Matt Canada watched an offense put up 479 total yards, while his counterparts on defense held BYU to 97 total yards. About as convincing as a 27-0 win could be. Ed Orgeron starts off as officially the head coach of LSU with a very convincing win in the Advocare Texas kickoff. 27-0 LSU over BYU. For Allison Williams and Brock Eward, I'm Bob Wischusen. So long from New Orleans. Sports Center starts in 15 seconds.